You're sitting on the side of the road. Red and blue lights are flashing behind you. The officer walks up, asks for your license, registration, and insurance. Everything seems routine. Then the officer says, "Can I see your phone for a second?" Most drivers think the traffic stop is still about the traffic violation. It isn't, because right there is a decision point. Not when the officer asks for your license, not when he asks where you're headed. The moment your phone leaves your hand unlocked, the entire encounter can change, and most people don't even realize it happened. Here's how it usually happens. They rely on you not knowing your rights. This channel makes sure you do. Subscribe and stay informed. And if you believe more people need to see this, share it and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Officer, can you pull up your insurance card on your phone? Driver, sure. The driver unlocks the phone, opens the insurance app, hands the phone over. Seems harmless. After all, the officer asks for insurance. The driver provided insurance. But many people forget one important fact. An unlocked phone contains access to far more than an insurance card. Messages, photos, emails, apps, location history, contacts. And while laws vary depending on the circumstances, the moment you voluntarily hand over an unlocked device, you may create issues you never intended. Another version sounds like this. Officer, you said you were texting your wife. Driver, yeah. Officer, can I see that conversation? Driver, sure. Again, the traffic stop may have started over a minor violation. Now the driver is voluntarily providing access to personal information. Most people fail here because they're trying to appear cooperative. They're not thinking about the consequences. They're thinking, if I have nothing to hide, why not? But that's the wrong question. The right question is, why am I giving access to information that wasn't requested when this stop began? Why officers ask it? To understand this, you need to understand the officer's perspective. Officers gather information. That's their job. If an officer believes a phone contains evidence relevant to an investigation, they may attempt to obtain voluntary access. Notice the key word, voluntary. Voluntary access is easier than legal processes. That's why officers often ask questions first. Officer, mind showing me? Officer, can I take a quick look? Officer, just pull it up for me. Officer, if you've got nothing to hide, what's the problem? These questions are designed to see whether access will be granted without further steps. Again, this is not misconduct, it's information gathering, but your response determines what happens next. And that leads directly to the decision point. Here's the exact moment the encounter changes. The officer asks for access, not information. Access. There is a difference. Wrong response. Officer, can I see your phone? Driver, yeah, sure. The phone gets unlocked. The phone gets handed over. The driver has now made a decision, whether they realized it or not. Notice what happened. The officer didn't take control. The driver surrendered it. Now compare that with the alternative. Officer, can I see your phone? Driver, I don't consent to searches of my phone. Simple, polite, professional. No argument, no accusation, no lecture. Just a clear answer. And now the officer knows exactly where the boundary is. That's the decision point. Not the traffic stop, not the ticket, not the conversation, the request for access, and your response. Here's the phrase to remember. I don't consent to searches of my phone. That's it. 11 words. No speeches, no debates, no legal seminar. Just, I don't consent to searches of my phone. Let's do it again. Officer, can I take a look? Driver, I don't consent to searches of my phone. Officer, just real quick. I don't consent to searches of my phone. Officer, what are you hiding? I don't consent to searches of my phone. Same answer, every time. This is where many drivers panic because officers may continue asking questions. Officer, why not? Officer, if you've got nothing to hide, what's the issue? Officer, are there messages you don't want me to see? The mistake is believing you now have to justify yourself. You don't. The more you explain, the more information gets provided. Instead, stay consistent. Officer, why not? I don't consent to searches of my phone. Officer, what are you worried about? I don't consent to searches of my phone. Officer, are you refusing? I don't consent to searches of my phone. Notice the pattern. No hostility, no sarcasm, no confrontation, just consistency. Many people lose control of encounters because they keep talking after they've already given their answer. The best response is often the shortest one. Some drivers hear statements like, "If you've got nothing to hide, let me see it." That statement creates pressure because nobody wants to look suspicious. But exercising privacy is not evidence of wrongdoing. Think about it this way. You lock your front door, you close your curtains, you protect your passwords. That doesn't mean you're hiding crimes, it means some information belongs to you. The same principle applies here. The goal is not to argue. The goal is simply to make your decision clear. Modern phones contain enormous amounts of personal information. Because of that, courts have recognized that cell phones deserve significant privacy protection. One of the most important cases is Riley versus California, where the Supreme Court held that police generally need a warrant before searching the digital contents of a cell phone seized from an individual. That's why the question of consent matters so much. If you voluntarily provide access, you've changed the situation. That's the entire point of this video. Now what happens after? What happens before? The decision point. Remember the trap. The trap isn't the traffic stop. The trap isn't the ticket. The trap is the request for access disguised as a casual question. Remember the decision point. The encounter changes the moment you're asked to unlock or surrender access to your phone. And remember the phrase, "I don't consent to searches of my phone." Short, clear, easy to remember. Because the smartest drivers aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who recognize the decision point before the officer does.